Well, well, well. Who do we have here? How you doing? So I'm back. I'm back with ya. And last time we had an interesting discussion. We were talking about aliens of all things. Can you believe that? And I wanted to tell you that I'm really into studying the aliens. I really believe in aliens. I don't know how many of you are aware of aliens, but I think you should be. And I mean aliens amongst us. It's probably the most important thing right now is for you to be aware and to identify the alien. What the alien is out to do to the guitar enthusiast. We are all guitar enthusiasts, regardless of who we are, regardless of our color, race, that sort of thing. We're all guitar enthusiasts. And let me make this totally clear to you. The aliens among us, if you realize it or not, well, you should realize it. The alien wants to kill you. As simple as that. And what they're going to do is they're going to come up with all kinds of deception. A global deception which touches every country in the world. That's how powerful the alien is. And their goal was to put everyone in the world in a state of tyranny, under communist terror. They've done it many times before in the past. Learn your history. Look into your history. This is the predecessors of the same aliens. Because the alien controls the monetary system of every country. All the central banks. That's all owned by the alien. The printing of money. The currencies. It's all owned by the alien. The financing of wars, the financing of revolutions, the financing of cultural movements, fashion, the perception of humanity. It's all funded and manipulated by the aliens. So therefore, as one alien said, I'm paraphrasing, if you control a nation's currency, you control the nation. Actually, he said something like, it doesn't matter who writes the laws as long as we control the currency. The truth of the matter is that whoever controls the currency, the whole monetary system, also controls the laws and also writes the laws and determines the course of the nation and the course of the world. But there's going to be no nations now. There's going to be one world literally ruled by a handful of aliens. And they're playing chess. They're playing a game with 7 or 8 billion people. They're doing that right now. They're playing a game and having fun doing it. And there's only one thing at stake here. The future of humanity. And sadistically, barbarically, the alien is enjoying to see people suffer and in misery. As you can see, an extension of that is that the alien owns all the politicians. Your governor, your local mayor, your district attorney, even your municipal council people, all the way up to the Supreme Court. Everything is owned by the alien. And as you could see, every election is controlled by the alien. And all these politicians, you got to understand, they have no power. No power whatsoever, and they make no decisions. They are all given a script. All they are is cheesy salesmen. Kind of like Paul Reed Smith, just like that. And yes, Paul Reed Smith is a partial alien. He's a fraud, but he has alien blood, which is very important. And he comes out of the alien camp, and the company is owned by the aliens. In case your parents never told you, and I always wondered what the secrets of success is in an alien world. They're frauds. But they're given a script, and they're actors. They're salesmen. They're there to deceive you. As you can see these governors. You can see these mayors. You can see these district attorneys. They didn't get there by accident. They were strategic. They were strategically placed. Do you actually think that things in this alien world happen by accident? Or they happen organically? Or they happen by chance? Well, you've got a lot to learn, and you have to wake up. They're all over the place, deceiving you every single day. They come at you from every angle of the alien-owned and controlled media. They come to you through your television, through every sort of media possible. They can even convince you that there's a plague, and you put your mask on. They convince you that there's a plague. I have a feeling that a lot of you never took aliens seriously. You never paid attention to them. You never learned how to identify them. You never learned how to recognize their crimes, their propaganda, their brainwashing. You never paid attention to this. You laughed at those who, and maybe you still do, who believe in aliens. But shit has hit the fan, and the alien is actually quite out in the open because they have pretty much absolute power now. They don't need to hide. So you better pay attention. You better believe. You better recognize. You better learn about the aliens among us. Among us. Everything that happens is conducted by the aliens. You gotta understand that what they have to do for spiritual, this is a spiritual war against the guitar enthusiasts. They are anti-guitar enthusiast. Okay, so you gotta understand something. The alien has been at war with both God and the creation of God, who is the guitar enthusiast. Since time immemorial, since the very beginning of time, they've been at war, and they must eliminate both God and the guitar enthusiast. And that's what it's all about. Can't you just feel it? Can't you just feel it that none of this is organic? None of this is developed naturally, that it's coming from a centralized evil force. You have noticed that all this evil is not coming from any one of us. You have noticed that it's not coming from any one particular minority group. Well, except for one. It's all coming from the aliens. And those groups who are incentivized, indoctrinated, and provoked to work for the alien agenda, thinking that they will get privileged and empowered, but in the end they will all meet the same fate as everyone who is not an alien. And it's highly unnatural and also unreal. It's not reality, it's fabricated reality. It's a false reality, absolutely false, fake, phony. It's pure deception. It's something that's staged, that doesn't exist. And almost everything about the world, except for the natural world, is all fabricated by the aliens. Everything that you've been taught, or you grew up with, none of it occurred naturally. And it's pumped into your brain incessantly over decades and decades and decades. And you could go your entire life and die without even knowing what was done to you. A lot of people will die not even knowing reality. It's a construct by Satan, because the aliens are the spawns of Satan, and the aliens are among us. They've been here pretty well since the beginning of time. How does the alien do it? Well, they own all the institutions. They control your livelihood. You either work directly or indirectly for the aliens. They decide on how prosperous you're going to be, or if you're even going to be able to put food in your mouth. And the other huge advantage to the alien is because they own and control all of the media, be it mainstream media, be it social media, even some parts of the alternate media as controlled opposition. So you can't really run, because the alien has their tentacles on you no matter where you are. The only form of defense that you have is your awareness. And the reason you're not aware of the alien is because you cannot fathom with your mind, with your non-alien mind. And it doesn't matter if you're a toddler in this situation. It doesn't matter if you're a toddler or if you're not a toddler. You're not an alien. And you cannot even fathom. You may not even understand what I'm talking about right now. Simply because your brain, your values, your motivations are not that of an alien. So I can't even imagine how anybody would have the motivations of an alien. So what I'm telling you sounds preposterous, because it's not within you. But the alien sets up the humongous lie, and you must live the lie like you're living the lie right now. You must live the lie, or else you're going to get a boot on your face. That's why the alien must have complete censorship and complete control, complete tyranny and coercion. It's the only way the alien can survive. The alien cannot survive through truth, the laws of nature, and reality. The alien cannot survive under those conditions. So the media, the internet, large part of it, is the indoctrination methodology of the alien. Culture is also the indoctrination of the alien. That's what the intent of jazz, blues, rock, folk music, alien folk music, not real folk music. Peter, Paul, and Mary, Bob Dylan. That was alien folk music with the purpose of taking over your mind. And all that got us right here where we are now. All of you wear masks. And you just wait and see what's coming next. And at the same time, I have to tell you that you may not realize this, but the aliens have brought us the music that we know and we love. But they brought us all this music and these arts and these cultural things for totally nefarious reasons. For financial reasons, because of greed, but also for nefarious, spiritual, political, existential reasons. It just so happened that around the turn of the century, they started with jazz. So they exploited blacks and black music, and they packaged it, and they sold it to the white guitar enthusiast or music enthusiast as a form of very powerful propaganda, cultural Marxism, to the unsuspecting, naive European Christian non-alien. And what they did is sometimes they very badly exploited the blacks. They started with jazz. And jazz was very free-spirited. You know, it was a little bit rebellious, decadent, immoral. And it was just right. They would bend the notes to change the pitch. And that was something very new. That wasn't really done before. But he was degenerate. And what the alien wanted to achieve, well, obviously they wanted to exploit everything for money and make lots of money, which they do to this day. The alien owns the entire music industry to this day. So if you're a musician and you even achieve a tiny little bit of success, you're working for the alien. You've got no other choice. The more success you achieve, the more of your soul you have to give over to the alien. You have to relinquish your soul. So they exploited the blacks and black music in order to subvert and corrupt the morals and the values of traditional guitar enthusiast culture. See, I gotta watch what I say, because we are not allowed to use our vocabulary on YouTube and everywhere else in life, for that matter. That's how far we have sunk. We are living under tyranny. We're occupied. We've been occupied a long time. But now the alien is right out in the open. Because they've got the power. They've got complete power. They've taken complete control on every level. Every level. In every industry. In every institution. So you, of European descent, European ancestry, guitar enthusiast, you really have no future. Your kids have no future. Your grandkids have no future. Because the alien will not allow it. The alien does not want you, the guitar enthusiast of European Christian ancestry, to survive and to carry on forward. The alien wants to eliminate you. Now, you don't want to believe that, but you should. Because it's all in front of you. You're being attacked every single fucking day. And there's a reason for it. And no one's attacking you except for the alien. And the alien is orchestrating all these attacks. Completely financing all the attacks. Enticing every group they can to go against and destroy and undermine the European traditional Christian guitar enthusiast. See, you got to understand something. Unlike everyone else, I mean, sure, there's individuals here and there that are pathological, that are psychopaths. In every group, in every ethnicity, in every race, in every country. Individuals. But it's only the alien as a whole. As a homogeneous group that they are incessantly addicted to control. They must control supremacy and domination. And yes, racial purity. If they don't achieve that, the alien perishes, or at least they think they are perishing. So they must do it. That's what I'm talking about, for existential reasons. None of us have that within us. We'd rather go on with life, try to be as happy as we can, as productive as we can. But that's not the way the alien operates. So they started with jazz. At the same time, classical music was destroyed, because classical music represented European achievement. So the aliens, they brought in atonality, modern classical music, which was garbage. And at the same time, they brought in the visual arts, they brought in abstract art, as well as disgusting architecture. And this is all a debauchery, a debasement, a leading away from virtue, excellence of European artistic achievement. And then they realized that they can exploit blues. And they exploited the blacks who played the blues. And they packaged it and they sold it to the European music enthusiast. I mean, you gotta understand that Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and hundreds of others were not marketed to black audiences. They were purely marketed to the European guitar enthusiast, music enthusiast, Woodstock and the rest of those festivals, music festivals, were satanic rituals, purely an alien operation. Satanic rituals, the debasement, the humiliation of the non-alien. It was shameful, even though the playing was good. And they were targeting the sons and daughters of those European descendants who just previously had been brainwashed to go to war and massacre their own cousins by the millions in both world wars. So then their sons and daughters were targeted at Woodstock, so they would morally degrade and disunify them even further, the non-alien. And blues morphed into rock and all its different forms, and therefore they could bring in the counterculture and destroy traditional society, European society, even more. The adhesion was largely gone, and nothing was holding together traditional European Christian society worldwide. What they did is they managed to bring in cultural Marxism, in which they deconstructed the very essence of society and culture and built it up in their own image, replacing the whole notion of God, the creator, with themselves. They are now the deity that we are forced to worship. And many of the zombies feel that it's their obligation to do so. The alien had instituted gradually over the last 100, even more, 200 years, going just gradually, they have instituted this culture of critiquing everything about the laws of nature, everything about the functioning of the world in a natural sense, in an organic sense. They have inverted everything and have made everything synthetic and upset the balance of the world. They took this perfectly set up guitar that plays immaculately with the lowest action possible, no fret buzz, resonating perfectly, and they cranked the shit out of the truss rod. That's what they did to humanity, and they're doing it right now on steroids with no one to stop them. Complete, absolute power over the entire world. You think that's not true? Is that what you think? You think that's crazy talk? Open your fucking eyes and look out your window at the world the alien has created. Yeah, enjoy it. Built it up in their own image, debasing everything that European society stood for, had built and was united about. What they did is they removed the identity of the European, and they erased the history of the European, and they're doing that right now, every moment, incessantly. They debased European culture, European achievement, and erased its history. They made everything depraved, indecent, promiscuous, decadent. They brought in hedonism, debauchery, sexual perversions of every type, to the point where the entire nations were devoured and disemboweled, gutted, and financially looted. That's what's going on right now. This is actually this phony plague that we're under. And we're mesmerized and brainwashed into believing, as stupid as those are who do believe it. What it actually is two things. Communism is two things. It's slavery and it's theft. And it's a huge financial relocation of assets, which is a looting of the world. It's quite amazing, actually. Let's give them credit. Let's give the alien credit for what they have done and what they're doing right now as we speak. To the point where they want to control our speech, and they want to control, well, they are controlling our speech, and they are controlling, and they want to very soon control our thoughts, and they want to control our bodies, and they snub their noses at the courts because they own the courts, they own the legal system. You gotta understand, this is a global movement. So they gave us some forms of music, but they did it for nefarious reasons. And then around the mid-90s, let's say, they took it all away. And they decided that the most effective method they can take at that point is to introduce ghetto culture to the European guitar enthusiast. Folk, jazz, blues, rock was taken away, and we're just desperately hanging on to it. Our culture was taken away in the last 20 years, last 25 years, last 30 years, but especially in the last 5 years, and especially in this year. Just with a push of a button, they have now overreached, because they can. And the reason they can is because the alien has technology like never before. They own technology. All of it. You understand? All of it. We're talking communication. We're talking about the financial system. We're talking about all the media. We're talking about the entire medical industry, the entire pharmaceutical industry. You want more? There is more. But we don't have the time to list it all. Genetics. And now they can get us genetically. No bullets needed. They want a back door into our bodies where they can alter us genetically. Now you gotta hand it to them. It's quite an achievement, but it is so fucking evil. It is so barbaric. It's so astounding that the normie will never be able to fathom any of this. They'll never believe it. It's so foreign to their way of thinking. The alien motivation is so foreign to the normie. They won't want to even know about it. They'll refuse to believe it. They'll run away. Maybe you're running away yourself, but you got nowhere to run to. Because I deal with reality here. And the aliens have you tracked in every way. They're playing God. The aliens are playing God. Now, they're playing God with these technologies that they now own. They own the internet. They can shut it down like that. They own food distribution. They can shut it down like that. They own the power grid. They can shut it down just like that. They can do anything they want to us. And they're trying to override our life-creating power, our reproduction, so that not us, not God, but the aliens themselves will decide if, how, or when, and in what way we can reproduce. But they don't want us to reproduce. They want the guitar enthusiast to disappear from the face of the earth. Understand? I know it sounds pretty extreme what I'm telling you, but it's right in front of you. All you have to do is open your eyes and use your brains. And now you can hopefully connect the dots, because they've taken everything away from you. Everything. Everything that we have worked at becoming great at, skilled at, creative at, has all been made worthless, has all been made irrelevant. And in actuality, we have been made irrelevant. They want to override our life-creating power by getting us to do it their way and only by their permission. We cannot even talk to each other anymore. We can't form groups. We can't organize, because they clamp down on us immediately. While the aliens themselves are hyper-organized. Organization is the key to their power. We can't speak our mind. We can't even think independently any longer. They want to destroy our fertility so that our genetics doesn't continue. Now, what is that? I can't say a lot of words here, but what word comes to mind? They want to control us through wireless technology. Remember, all technology is owned by the alien. All institutions are owned by the alien. Remember, the alien controls everything in the world and everybody in the world. And here we are, building guitars, playing guitars, trying to love the music that we love. And it seems pointless, because life has been taken away from us, and we're locked. We're trapped under a fucking boot. We have a big, huge boot that's stepping on us constantly. And we're even lucky that we can put food in our mouths and that we can barely breathe. They've even taken the air away from us. So wake up and take your life back. And the way you take your life back is to, you don't have to actually do anything much. But en masse, all you have to do is resist the alien. Just resist the alien. The media is the huge source of propaganda which goes into your brain and indoctrinates you to submit to the alien. Turn your TV off, turn your radio off. Get all your news from alternate sources. And do not comply. And then you will paralyze the alien. The alien will not know what to do if masses of us don't comply. Anyway, that's my message. It's enough for this session. Think about it. Know who the alien is. Know how to identify the alien. And know what the motivation of the alien is, because nobody has this evil motivation except for the alien. And you got to do this, even if I know this, and I'm fine with it. I don't hold that against you. I know that some of you are actually aliens, or some of you are partial aliens, and some of you are crypto aliens. But I'm okay with that. I'm not holding that against you. Everyone's welcome here. Everybody's welcome to my work. Everybody's welcome on my channel. As long as you don't act like an alien. As long as you don't act like an alien. And even if you are an alien, to any extent, you also have to be aware of the alien. And you have to be aware of where the alien is taking you and what they will make out of you. I know you want to belong. You feel the need to belong to a group. We all do. But if you really understand what's happening, you will be able to make the right decision and not carry out the evil agenda of the alien, because the future of humanity, not just the guitar enthusiast, well, as a symbolic moniker, is in tremendous peril. And everything that we hold as beautiful, moral, and good will be destroyed by the alien. Now, do you want to be on that side? Or do you want to play guitar and marvel at the beauty of creation and the amazing virtuosity of human performance? All that will be gone if you side with, work for the alien, and you support the alien. All that will be gone. It'll be destroyed, never to be seen again. And the world will be made up of two groups only. This is the goal of the alien. One group will be all zombies, genetically destroyed, lobotomized, disgraced, humiliated, dehumanized slaves, ultimate slaves. Masses of them. Those that survive. The other group will be the privileged aliens. Because nobody has privilege in the world, regardless of what the alien tells you and tries to make you hate yourself. The alien is going to tell you that you're privileged, and we're not. We are actually, the guitar enthusiast is actually the most persecuted group in the world. But no other group has any privilege. No other group is a supremacist. And no other group is innately, intrinsically, institutionally, racially a hater of humanity. Remember that. These are the most racist, most supremacist, and the most hating creatures the world has ever seen. They have to be. It's the essence of who they are. It's the inexorable source of all of their motivation. They never stop. It's push, 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 go, 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 until there isn't one guitar enthusiast left in the world. Without that, they're not aliens. So regardless of what you may have been led to believe in a very deceptive way, no one, no group in the world has any power or privilege. Nobody. Except for the alien. Only the alien has privilege and self-aggrandizing supremacy, regardless of what they want to project, falsely accuse on the guitar enthusiast or anyone else. We are under control and under the tyranny, under the occupation of the aliens. And that's all I got for today. All right, well, let's get going here and show you some guitars. Let me take you back to the end of July of 2020, this year, and what I was up to. And again, it takes me back to a time in late 1980. What were you doing in 1980? Think about it. Well, I just moved to a city called Peterborough. Had to start grade 11 in the new high school. And right after the school started, there was a school dance or concert. Dance, I guess. It was held in the school gym. And the cool part is that they were having a band come in, I believe from Toronto. And they were called Bentwood Rocker. And it was a top 40 bar band type of band. But they were good. They were good. They played Foreigner and who knows what else of the time period. 1980. So the guy comes up on stage, the guitar player. I'm not sure if there were two guitar players or one guitar player, but he had this guitar that looked like a Les Paul. And it looked so simple. It had no arch top on it, no humbuckers, different types of pickups. And the whole thing just looked so simplistic and pure. And I fell in love with it immediately. Instead of trying to get a girl or watching the girls, I was mesmerized by this band, the music, and this particular guitar. and it was like a dirty yellow in color. And I could figure out that it was a budget model of a Les Paul, but they weren't sold. They weren't sold in the stores, so it must have been old. It must have been sold at some point, you know. So I was watching this guitar player the whole time, and after the concert I talked to him, and he gave me all the information I needed, and he said it was a Les Paul Special or Junior from the 50s, and he had an original one, and boy, that thing played up a storm, you know. And I should have bought one at the time. They were cheaper, but expensive for me. I had only been playing guitar for maybe 2 years at that time, 3 years at that time, so I didn't know much. But I was always fascinated with the technical aspects of musical instruments ever since I was a kid. I mean, I used to go to the symphony, and I would go to the orchestra pit and watch those instruments as they were tuning up, you know, before the concert. And I was fascinated with all these archaic instruments and the sounds they could make, and the virtuosity of the players and what they could do on it. And so the same thing happened with this 50s Les Paul Junior or Special. I forget what it was. The single pickup one, it was a Junior, and the two pickup model was a Special. It was the same thing. So ever since then I always kind of wanted it. I mean, the guitar has some inherent insufficiencies, let's put it that way, in terms of my modern playing at this time and my personalized requirements. I think I mentioned about a vintage one that I could have bought in the late 90s, and it felt really odd because the neck was unbelievable, like a baseball pad. Like, I'm not talking about a thick neck, I'm talking a monstrously thick neck. So a lot of these things that Gibson and Fender too in the 50s, a lot of stuff they did really well, and some stuff they really missed out on. And I think the reason for that is that the people building the guitars were not guitar players, and most of them, I would say over 90% were not guitar players at all. Yeah, I fell in love with this guitar mainly for its simplicity. I just love the fact that it never had all the useless stuff that a Les Paul Standard or Custom would have. And it was lighter in weight and just had what you needed and nothing more. So I built a few, you know, as you know, over the years. Zachary versions of them. But I always wanted that TV yellow. I don't know why. It's a psychological thing. I fall into these psychological traps also. So I finally did it. I finally built a TV yellow Les Paul Special. Again, it's way better than having an original vintage one, just in terms of usability, practicality, and tailored to myself and generally to modern playing. For one thing, it has great frets, stainless steel frets, high frets, wider frets. The neck isn't as thick. It was really bizarre because they made these apparently for kids. For it was a budget Les Paul, and it was made for, lack of a better word, the student market. And I couldn't figure out, why would you make necks like that if it's for like kids? younger players. But again, they missed that. They missed out on that totally. Their finishing was great. Obviously, the body shapes are timeless classics. They did everything with 22 frets, where they had the room, and it would have been more advantageous to go to 24 frets because they could have given these things a larger, even more stable neck pocket, the neck coupling to the body, and they didn't do it. Especially like on the SGs, you got all the fucking room. So instead of making the neck 24 frets to give you a full 2 octaves, they added dead space there between the pickup and the end of the neck, and they filled it up with pig guard material. It's just, hello, people at Gibson. Old women were building these in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I toured the original factory a few years ago. It was heritage already at that point, and most of the factory was shut down, just a very small part. Didn't actually tour the factory because I went there after hours. Somebody that I knew one of the owners. I forget his name, but his name is well known. One of the owners, and he just let us in, and we were just in the very front of the factory, in the office areas. I talked to him for about an hour. Didn't actually see the factory, and I mean, there wasn't much going on with heritage. I mean, I don't know. I got my opinions on that as well. But yeah, I went to the original factory location. So these were built by old women. There was not very much forethought into the design, so I've created something that's better than the original, and that's the whole point, right? The whole point. But I kept the original exact body shape, exact body thickness, at the exact place where the neck joins the body. That's all faithful to the original, okay? A lot of these tinkerers, they make these and they do not follow the key design elements that makes this guitar what it is. So the whole idea is to make it better and to update it, but keep the essential elements the same. Like, don't distort the body like Heritage has done, and you know, don't join the neck at a different spot, shit like that, you know. Don't give it a two-pneumatic bridge. What else? What else is there? You know, give it a vintage style Clouson tuners. Keep the essentials. I forgot to mention this. One very important feature of this budget Les Paul model, which is very important historically, traditionally, nostalgically, and whenever I see this not being done, it just makes me cringe, and I have no interest in the guitar. I lose respect for the brand that did it. It's this overhang right here. See this overhang? That is a key feature visually and also structurally. The way the necks were mounted, the way the body was constructed in relation to the neck, is it has to have this. And what Gibson has done for years is they brought out something that they called the Les Paul Special. They didn't have this overhang. Just like on the Les Paul Custom, it would go, you know, the edge of the neck would be the edge. It wouldn't have this wood here. extra wood, and this is a key feature. And the only thing that they used to do it on is their custom historic reproductions, you know, for $3,000-$4,000. But if it doesn't have this, it tells you everything you need to know. Now, you could notice something, and I would have agreed with you a few years back that this guitar, one of the main defining characteristics of this design, Les Paul in general, Gibson in general, is the glued in set neck, right? And I would have fully agreed with you. However, my spike neck joint is just so good and so practical and better in so many ways that I just could not let that go. And I'm set up for that. And it doesn't detract from the effectiveness of the instrument. It doesn't detract very much from its visual appearance. And it improves its performance. So the one thing that I didn't follow is the set glued in neck. So here it is. So this is what I was doing late July of 2020. Here it is. I spent a lot of time to get the relicing correct, and in my fantasy I'm playing an original late 50s Gibson Les Paul Special, but a much better version of it. So the body, you gotta make sure you keep the weight down on these things as much as you can. So the body is not mahogany. The body is willow. I believe it is willow, two-piece of willow, because it's a very soft and very lightweight wood. And you know, my great aluminum, very high quality wraparound bridge, original designed, just like on the original Les Pauls, wraparound bridge. And of course I came up with this unique way of mounting the volume control, and as you could see, it's also mounted through the pickguard to get it at exactly the right location while playing, so you can reach it. It can be a part of your playing. That's the whole deal, while still using the exact same historic shaped pickguard. It's very important. And then there's the pickup selector, which is very accessible also. You can see your hand can switch it back and forth. And then you got your tone knob, tone pot, and all three of those are in line with the original Les Pauls, Specials and Juniors, from the center line. So the location, according to the center line, is correct. 24 frets. Pickups are wonderful. I mean, these are P90s that I built myself, wound them myself, of course. These are Zachary hand wound pickups, also aged. Again, go to the website, you'll see a lot of great pictures. I mean, you're not getting a good color reproduction here under this kind of lighting. It's you're not really seeing how nice this guitar is. I don't believe in the video. You got to go to the pictures on my website. And so you know, that the neck power ferrule fingerboard, wood position dots, stainless steel frets. Now, what are the frets here? Let me, if I can recall. Yeah, it's dual size frets, thicker frets up to the 16th fret, and from the 16th up to the 24, they're thinner frets to give you more access to get in there. the high frets. So it's a full 2 octaves. Something also very interesting here. On this one, I do have the adjustment screws in the bridge, but they're not being used. They're not touching the posts. So I don't like to use, well, it's kind of like an idealistic way of achieving this that nobody achieves, but I spent extra effort and a lot of measuring and a lot of calculation for me to place that bridge at exactly the correct position, which is not easy to do. By the way, these bridges are not centered. They're not centered this way. I'm giving away some very valuable information to all the tinkerers. And also on the original Gibsons, a very big, huge problem is that the angle of the bridge is really off. It's incorrect. Now, I've read some stories about old strings intonating differently. I don't know if I buy that description or not. Buy that excuse. But especially the treble side is totally off on the originals, and you have to use the adjustment screw basically to its maximum, and it's really stupid, and there's not much holding the bridge onto the posts, the stud screws. Again, things like that really bother me. So this is a tremendous achievement where I don't have to use the screws, and the bridge is at its optimum placement in terms of intonation, and that's what I wanted to achieve. So, and also going forward on following, you will see the consecutive guitars after this. I'm not using the adjustment screws. I don't need to. Sometimes I don't even put them in. So it's again, something to keep is the original scale length of 624 millimeters. And just to make it authentic, I put a black veneer. I glued a black veneer onto the headstock. Again, isn't that cool? And this is the logo is proud of the headstock, and it is golden color. Again, it harkens back to the original Gibson appearance. Turning it around. Here's what it looks like in the back. 3 holes for the controls, and magically it's all wired in there. And of course it's relict, and you've got your spike neck joint, and the neck is actually it's hard to see because it's glued together so well. It's 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of mahogany strips. What happened is, you know, when I make necks out of a single piece of mahogany, I have extras, so I cut those off. So I had all these really nice strips, and I figured, well, I was going to plane them really smooth and glue them together and get a neck out of it, and that's exactly what I did, and it's worked out really nice. And you've got the vintage style tuners on there. You've got the date, 23rd day. Sorry, you've got the 20 We've got the 26th day. 26th day of the 7th month of 2020. And you can see the tuners are meticulously aged. And it's all nitrocellulose lacquer, very thin layer of nitrocellulose lacquer. And there's the electronics in there. And keeping everything as authentic as possible, including the plastic, on the side, jack plate, except positioned differently to make it better. Get it out of the way, right? Close to the strap button. I don't know what else to tell you here. That's about all. Oh, getting back to the pickups, by the way. They are... I'm not going to give away the specifications of these pickups, but I'm using different magnets, different style magnets, all vintage spec though, but not original vintage spec, because these pickups are a lot hotter. And boy, they're just very touch sensitive, and a lot of power here. A lot of power if you need it. And what you do is with the volume knob. Again, people originally building these and designing them were not guitar players. So the cool thing about this is if you have an amp and you set it with your maximum amount of gain that you want in your playing, and then just set your volume knob wherever you want it at any particular time, and you control your gain with your volume knob. It works out really cool, and it's always there for your pinky to turn as you play. It takes some skill to master that. I'm still working on it, but that's it. That's all I can tell you. And this thing, it weighs in at 6.7 pounds. All right, where standard Les Paul standard is about 10 pounds. So 6.7 pounds. That's about as light as you're gonna get out of this guitar. That's about as light as you can go. All right. Let's give this a try. I don't feel that good right now, but I'll try my best. Neck pickup, tone turned down. Listen to the intonation on this non-intonating wraparound bridge. Listen. This would normally be totally out of tune. Not bad. So that was the neck pickup with the tone turned down about halfway. And let's check that out and then go on with the rest. It's going to be more gain here. Both pickups. Hopefully you can hear some quack.
That's it.
All right, so right after building that TV Yellow Les Paul Special, I immediately felt the need of making another one. That's the way this is. It's getting excited about and inspired and needing to do it. That's what guitar building is. It's not about sales. It's not about marketing on social media, promotion or fame or anything like that. It's needing to do it. It's the need to build something with the hands, to work with the hands, to manipulate and to form the materials into something that's a work of art. That's what it's all about. It's needing to build, needing to be creative. That's why I don't respect these phony guitar builders whom you see, because yeah, there's more efficient way of doing things, but I wouldn't get out of it what I actually want to get out of it, right? It totally defeats the purpose if you're not building. It's all about building, right? With the hands, right? That's what it's all about. It's like pretending to be a guitar player and not playing the guitar, but turning your stereo on. Well, playing guitar is about actually playing the guitar. Regardless of how famous you are, you gotta play. Regardless of how much money you make or how much fame you get or notoriety or how well known you are, that none of that is important. It's all about the playing. It's all about the building. This is what a lot of these toddlers on these toddler guitar channels just simply don't understand, and that immediately gives me the indication that they are not guitar players. They're as much guitar players as those phony guitar builders whom they're patronizing, idolizing. Oh, these fools. They're fooled on every level of life. And they don't even realize it. That's what I'm trying to get at. And sometimes it's just a matter of certain pickups I want to try, so I build a new guitar to try those pickups in a guitar. And that's the case with the next one. With the next one, I needed to build... I wanted to try a few things. I wanted to build a guitar with gold hardware, a Les Paul special style, again, with gold hardware. I wanted to use this pearl white paint that I had, and I wanted to build them with humbuckers, believe it or not. So I'm thinking, you know, mulling this over and wondering, do I really want to just make humbuckers? I mean, I've done that before. It's been done gazillions of times. It's like bores me. It doesn't inspire me with passion. So I said, well, what could I do? And I came up with something. How about building humbuckers that are not really like traditional humbuckers? See, the whole thing has to do with, you know, being the best guitar builder in the world doesn't mean woodworking skills. I mean, there's a lot of really good woodworkers or great woodworkers, but that doesn't make them artists. And that doesn't actually even make them guitar builders. There's got to be another element to it, a much deeper element than just woodworking. Can you guess what that is? What that really means is creativity and originality. Okay? And that's what it's all about. It's not about manufacturing a product. It's about creativity and originality. That's what I need. It's not about talking to guitar players. It's not about being on social media. It's not about bullshitting all day. It's not about doing interviews. It's about building. Yeah. It's about actually hands-on fucking building and challenging yourself. That's what it's about. Oh man, it just makes me cringe thinking about these frauds. It just makes me cringe. And what's even worse is the fucking morons who believe it, who don't have the intellectual capacity to be able to figure out what is real and what isn't real, and what is authentic and what isn't authentic, or what is important, what is not important, and what is talent and what is not talent. They can't tell bullshit from the truth. That's what makes me angry. They cannot differentiate between someone who's the real deal, who's authentic, and a fraud. It's the same thing that we see now with scientists. You've got the lifetime actors on your television constantly coming at you. And they're all fucking frauds. They're cheesy fucking salesmen, including your fucking president, whatever country you live in. Everything is a fucking fraud. Understand? Nothing is real. There's very, very few things that you may stumble upon which is real. Everything else is fake. Everything in your world. Are you realizing it now? Slowly, very slowly. Depends on your IQ. Alright? For some of you, it'll never happen. That's fine. You're gonna die pretty happy. I'm envious of you. Some may gradually actually realize that everything in the world is a lie. And most characters are characters, a theatrical show, which is all fraud. I give you reality here, even if you like it or not. But that's what a human being is. A human being is a fucking moron. So, yeah, it's lonely. It is. Story of my life. That's the way it goes. So, I had a few things going with this thing that I wanted to build a guitar using these features: gold hardware, pearl white paint, and humbucking pickups, but I had a problem with just regular humbucking pickups. So I thought, well, what if I make them look like humbucking pickups, but I make them sound like a Fender single coil, like a Strat? Now I got really excited, and I said, well, how can I do that? Well, build both in the same pickup. Well, yeah, how would I do that? Simple. And again, I'm giving away great information here, proprietary information. Am I going to be the best pickup maker in the world too? Like, what the fuck? Right now, when they've taken all this away from us and made it irrelevant, My goodness, how evil works in the world. Anyway, I'm doing my part here. The bottom line is I'm doing my part here to fight the fucking evil that's everywhere. We're consumed by evil. And evil is destruction. And I'm constructing and I'm creating, not destroying. So, I really like that. So, pickups. I figured, came up with a new design, new pickup design. I'm going to build both a Gibson style humbucker and a Fender style single coil in the same pickup, on the same Gibson style humbucker platform, on the same frame. That's what I'm going to do. What do I call it? I call it the Mag Pole Bucker. Mag pole stands for magnetic poles, and it's still a humbucker. So what these pickups need is they need to be able to be switched from double coil mode to single coil mode. Easy enough. You can use a variety of methods to do that. I chose on this one to use a push-pull pot, which has a switch built into it, and that is in the tone knob position. So both pickups can be switched simultaneously into single coil mode or double coil mode, which is humbucking mode. But how's that going to sound like a Stratocaster? Well, how is a Stratocaster pickup built? Stratocaster pickup, the main feature of a Stratocaster pickup that's different from a Gibson style pickup, even a P90, even like a P90 is a single coil, but it's not like a Stratocaster pickup. Why? Because on a P90 or a traditional humbucker, the pole pieces themselves are not magnetic. They're just steel, either studs or screws. And the magnet is a bar magnet, a flat bar magnet on the bottom of the coils, which then touches the pole pieces and magnetizes them. Well, that's not how Fender has ever done it, right? Because on a Fender, the pole pieces themselves are the magnets. You follow me? I'm going to be, you're going to be quizzed on this, so you better take notes. You're going to be quizzed, and I don't want anybody failing that quiz. So, I figured, why don't I do this? Why don't I just build both pickups in one single pickup? So one side will be a traditional Gibson design, and the other side will be a traditional Fender design. So one side will have, I'm going to use the stud side of a humbucker and place those studs with a bar magnet on the bottom, magnetizing those studs. Just like on a traditional humbucker. On one side. The other side, I'm not going to have a magnet on the bottom. I'm going to put in Stratocaster rod magnets in place of the studs. Understand? So that's what I did. That's why they're called mag pole buckers. You heard it here first. You heard of this design here first, and I'm going to show it to you. So here's this guitar. Going back to The 13th day of August of 2020. What were you doing in August? In the middle of August? Well, this is what I was doing. Here goes. So here it is, another special guitar. And as you can see, it's pearl white. The body is again a lightweight, even lighter than mahogany. We got to keep these things light, people. I love lightweight guitars. I love the resonance, and I love the maneuverability of a lightweight guitar, and it's a lot easier on your health, let's put it that way, and your anatomy. So it's made of basswood, and it's made of one piece of basswood, one of the lightest woods. A little bit harder and a little bit heavier than balsa wood. And again, you see the design is very much the same as the previous guitar. It's got the aluminum wraparound bridge, perfectly placed for perfect intonation. Optimum, let's put it that way, intonation. And you've got your volume knob, which is through the traditional pickguard shape of the traditional version of this, the original version of this Gibson inspired guitar. And you've got your pickup selector here, and then you've got your tone knob, which is a push-pull switch knob, and here are the pickups, the Magpul buckers, and you'll see that the gold side is the Gibson side, and this right here is the Fender side. Gibson side, Fender side, Gibson side, Fender side. And the Fender side has those pull pieces that are their Stratocaster magnets out of a Stratocaster pickup. And this is a traditional stud coil that you see on any Gibson humbucker or traditional humbucker. And when you pull on the switch, you will activate the Fender Stratocaster side, the Fender side of both pickups. The ones closest together are the Fender sides, and these two single coils are going to be the ones that are going to be activated in single coil mode. And you could still use your coil switch to either use only this single coil, both of these single coils, the inside coils, or you can use just the bridge single coil. So you're getting a much more authentic sound this way, Fender type of sound, than using a traditional Gibson style humbucker in single coil mode. You can do that. I mean, a lot of them do that with four conductor wiring. You can do that, but you're not going to get an authentic. You can get a interesting sound, a very usable, nice tone, but it won't be as authentic as this is in terms of a Fender type of sound. So that's the big achievement here, the big innovation, the creativity aspect of it that got me so excited. The rest of it is pretty much the same, 24 fret neck, dual size frets, stainless steel frets, very amazing playability that would blow away any professional player, I'm sure. I think it would be a revelation for them, like they've just met God, you know what I mean? And of course it's all relict again. The pearl white, I love it. And turning it around, you've got the controls, and you've got the spike neck joint, and again here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, a 4-piece neck. I always do one-piece necks, but I really like these multi-piece necks, and you know that these things will be unbelievably stable, which my necks always are anyway. So the 13th day of the 8th month of 2020, and there it is. And I'm going to demonstrate for you the tonal abilities of these pickups. And again, I wanted to go with the pearloid pickguard. I think it really adds to the style of this particular instrument. And the gold hardware. So there you go. It's just an exciting instrument to build, and it's hard to let these things go, you know what I mean? Because not one will ever be the same. Not one. And every guitar I build, I'm going, oh my God, this is the best guitar I've ever built in my life. This thing is amazing. And I work very hard at these, you know, blood, sweat, and tears, every single fucking one of them. And, you know, they're all built with limited resources and limited tooling, and everything is measured out by hand and pencil and a ruler. But that's the way to build an instrument. You know, I wouldn't advise you build a kitchen toaster that way, but any musical instrument must be built this way because it's organic and it's full of life. And I put my life energy into it. And that's something that the frauds can never do. They don't actually have any talent. You can admire them for their business skills. Yeah, they got way more business skills than I do. My goodness. They know how to make money. Some of them, anyway. And they know how to schmooze. And they know how to deceive. And they know how to pretend. And what's the new word? LARP. They're LARPing. They're masquerading as instrument builders. And I don't like that at all. I don't like people that are not authentic, because then they produce instruments that are not authentic. And they're not alive. And that's what you need when you play. You have to bond with an instrument. And that's where they fall short. That's what they never achieve. They never fucking achieve that. And but that's fine. It's not a crime for them to do that. But it's, again, it's the toddler that's the problem. The normie, the toddler. They're the ones who set the course of the world that we all have to be in, and they drag us down with them. The idiot, low IQ, incompetent toddler. They're the dangerous ones. It doesn't matter what these scammers do. It doesn't matter if the toddler was just not so willing to comply and so willing to support nothing short of pure evil. So here we got the Magpul Buckers, the pickups. These new pickups that I came up with. And we're gonna be playing this in single coil mode right now. So I have the tone pot pulled, so I'm in single coil mode, and I'm going to be starting off with the neck single coil, which would be this coil, the inside coil of the neck pickup. So what am I going to play? Totally clean. Single coils, both inside coils, single coils. Can you hear the quack? So this no longer sounds like a Gibson, right?